I'm Kimberly.
And welcome to
It's
Everything. God damn it. I don't know the name of the podcast, and I never will. Okay. I can't. That's the breaking point. Okay. One day. It's okay. Hi, guys. It's Tori.
It's Kimberly.
And welcome to
It's nothing.
Nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing.
Oh my
It's
god.
nothing. It's everything. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8. Hi, guys. It's Tori.
It's Kimberly.
And welcome to
It's nothing.
It's everything. That's our third take because Tori cannot remember the name of the podcast.
Oh, God bless
It's fine.
America.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's great.
Hey, friends. We're here. Here we are. We're weeping. We're slightly weeping.
Third time's the charm.
Weeping and wheezing.
Weepin' and Wheezin. There's our bumper sticker. Oh my goodness. Okay. That was good. That's what we needed.
That was
We
good.
need it on a Friday. We
a
need
little pick me up.
little cackle. Cackle never hurt nobody.
Oh, bless.
Who are we talking about today?
Yeah, I think we gotta just dive right in. I think
there's enough to be talked about.
Yeah, I think we're talking about. Wait, how do you say her name?
Chappell Roan.
Chappell Roan. We're
Mhm.
talking about Chappell Roan.
The
and-
controversy that she has ignited
Yes,
in the world.
and the eliciting all kinds of strong feelings from all kinds of different people with
Yes.
such a simple throwaway few comments.
Yeah, I don't think she knew what she was doing.
Well, of course not, because
she
she's
got
not a
into-
parent, so she doesn't have the context for what she was actually
So
saying.
what did she say? For those who don't know, right? Chappell Roan, who did Pink Pony Club, if you don't know who she is, went on a podcast. Podcasts. They're coming for us all.
Podcasts, Yeah.
Went on a podcast and I don't know the question that was asked though. I just know the
I don't
answer.
either. I just know, yeah. She said
Maybe it was probably, do you want to be a mother?
yeah, something about
'Cause-
parenting.
To be fair, I believe Chappell is early mid-20s.
Yeah, she young.
She's young. And she got
And
and asked something about a parenthood, and she said essentially that no
All parents that she knows are in hell,
are in hell.
and they're not happy, and they don't have any light in their eyes.
That
It was the light in the eyes
was
that
the
got
light
me.
on the
I was
eyes
like,
that-
oh,
yeah, that rocked my world. was
I
like,
feel
oh.
that so deeply. I'm actually not offended by anything she said
No.
at all.
Because also Tori at 27 would probably say the exact same freaking thing.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, it looks really hard.
Yeah,
Because spoiler alert,
it's really hard.
It's really hard. Parents, it's really hard. But I wouldn't compare it to hell.
Well,
Necessarily.
I wouldn't know. I haven't been there yet. That's gonna
Give me time.
come later. Yeah, that'll be later on. But no, I imagine hell is far worse than parenting. But for being a human on this planet, parenting is a very special kind of hell.
Mm. Mhm.
100%.
Oh, okay.
I think it's also incredible and
Yeah.
I think it's the most transformative thing that you can do as a human.
Mm-hmm.
Being a parent has changed every single piece of who I am.
Every single aspect. Every single one that I thought I knew is different because of parent.
Oh,
being a parent.
you learn who you are, I think,
Yes.
when you become a parent. I don't think, I think back to pre-parent Kimberly
Yeah.
and who she thought she was versus what I have learned about myself since becoming a parent.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see every single thing that happens in the world through a different lens.
Mm.
I knew nothing about myself, about the world, about human interaction. I knew nothing. I knew absolutely nothing. And now I know so much more.
I mean, parenting felt like the hardest test that there was no study manual for.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
like every part of it is new and I know there's books out there. I never read any of them.
Lots of them.
There's lots of 'em.
lots of them.
There's
And
lots of 'em.
some of them, a lot of them, are garbage.
A lot of them now are very much garbage. Garbage, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, from her from her seat of where she sat, like, I can understand it looks like hell
Yeah.
because you have time and resources and sleep and all the things, right? But I mean, I couldn't agree more that parenthood on foundational level of a cellular level of me
Yeah.
changed me and actually birthed a, in a superhero in my opinion. I think
Oh, yeah.
that that's how I felt anyway. It was like all the things that I had worked up to until that point, like I birthed it out when I birthed my first baby,
Yeah.
where it was like, oh, this is what patience feels like. I remember my whole family was like shocked at how I was shocked at how patient I was. Because before kids, I was not patient. I was
No, you
like,
never had a reason to be.
yeah, I was just like, do it now and
Yeah.
be better.
Same. Same.
Like, I figured it out. You figure it out.
I don't have to have understanding. You gotta
No,
get better.
you gotta get better. Just do it.
Yeah.
And so then, but having a kid who cannot emotionally like regulate themselves, I was like, that's my job.
Yeah.
But not having to like, I just didn't understand that before. And
No,
so,
of
yeah,
course not.
everyone in my life was very shocked, including myself, of how patient I was. Um, and when you have patience, you have time. And when you have time, you can like see the world from like a fisheye, it felt like. Like I could see like, oh, this is going to affect that, which is going to affect that. And I teach them how to do this is going to affect this in 10 years.
Yes. Yeah, having patience literally slows down time.
Yeah.
Literally makes time move slower.
Yeah. Yeah.
And zoom out. Like I think about, I mean, to be fair, I had my first child was very easy.
Mhm.
Easygoing, had feelings but managed them.
She did, yeah.
Her feelings weren't big. They
Ugh.
are deep,
Yes.
but they were not big on the outside, right?
Mm.
She was very agreeable. She
Mm.
just went where I went. She did what I did. She was just happy to be alive.
Mhm.
It was just easy.
Mhm.
So like I didn't really have to learn patience with her.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Which
then
in that time of your life, because you had her at what age?
yeah, 24.
Yeah, so you were a baby yourself.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like,
If I
yeah.
had
Thank
Dot at
God.
24, I might be dead.
Do you believe in this idea of karmic babies?
Oh, 100%.
I believe in that deeply. I also believe that like and this is so woo woo, so like buckle up, everybody.
Woo it up, babe.
Well, here we go. Is that I believe that the kids choose the parents.
100%. Yes.
Right. That in the universe, in the world, they're like, these are the lessons I need to learn in this next life. So I'm gonna saddle up to that wackadoo. And you have like, I have two babies. One is my karmic baby, and one is like my easygoing.
Mm.
And my eldest, my first, was my karmic baby, where all his things that he did were my triggers. And so I was forced like right out the gate to learn patience because I was like, yeah, we'll be dead. We'll
Yeah.
be dead. We'll be
We
dead.
will not survive this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was because he has very, very big feelings and very sensitive, much like his father.
Yeah.
And which is great because it I've met Pat and he was my balance of like, oh, that's what a kind person does. Like,
Oh,
oh, that looks
kindness.
cute. That's what compassion looks like. That's what empathy looks like. Cute, 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 cute. Um, that's what calmness looks like,
Yeah.
And then yeah, I had Finn and I was like, oh, I'm learning patience. You're my karmic baby. And you will push me to grow.
And
Which is, yes, it's in its own form, waking up to that every day could be horrible,
yeah.
right? And a version of somebody's hell. It wasn't
Yeah, when you
yeah.
don't live it yourself, of course it looks like hell. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think about truly the first 3 years with Dot.
Mm.
First of all, she was born 4 months into a pandemic, a global pandemic.
Yeah.
So like
The pandemic babies are unique.
that was absolutely bananas.
Mhm.
All day, every day. Even just going through that pregnancy in a pandemic was
That was fucking
wild.
wild. Yeah, that was
Wild.
because you and I both were pregnant during the pandemic.
Yeah. And we were like,
Oh,
hi.
sorry,
It's fine.
spiked it.
I mean,
Anyone
just
birthday.
what a, I mean, it's like something you'll never be able to explain to people
I
who
mean,
haven't been through it.
the fear of having a pregnant, like having going to a hospital in a pandemic
Yeah.
where we might not have our support people. Because that was when we first started,
Yeah.
that was a fear. That was like, you can't have your partner there when you're giving birth.
Yeah, give birth alone.
Give birth alone, like
I
those women
remember
who did
I
that.
had friends in New York who the husband, she gave birth at New York Presbyterian. The husband stood on the sidewalk outside the front doors of the
No.
hospital on FaceTime with her while she delivered their baby upstairs.
That makes me wanna cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because how lonely and how horrifying. Horrifying!
Yeah.
It's already a scary thing you're doing the hardest thing.
The hardest thing you'll ever do.
Yes, the hardest thing you'll ever do, and don't even get me started on, like, C-sections or the easy way out. We'll get to it.
False.
Yeah,
False. False.
very, very false,
Yeah.
and we'll do another episode
Yeah.
about that because
We'll get
you wanna talk about a soapbox that mama can get on. I will climb up to the top.
Yeah, that's your Mount Everest. Get up there.
Yeah, but to have that, not feel your legs, and then to not have somebody there in the room with you,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that. But honestly, even Finn, who was my, like, karmic baby, he still was pretty chill. Like, he was pretty chill. I thought my second kid was going to be the devil because I was like, yeah, we had some hills and valleys with him, but, like, it was still okay. Like, I didn't see the hardship that I saw other friends of mine going through.
Yeah.
But that also was probably because my support system was so strong,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
why move to that? Like, I moved out of the city.
Yeah, you made a conscious decision
I
to
made a
have that.
decision to move to family who were to support myself. Yeah, that was a very like we said when we got married, we're like, we're never gonna move out of here. We're never gonna move back to Kent.
Yeah.
Gross. And then got pregnant and was like, oh, well, also the market,
Yeah.
can't afford nothing in Seattle, but like,
No, the city's fucking expensive.
yeah. And so that was one of it. But then we lived like 3 minutes from my parents because
I mean, what a dream.
it.
I think
But I think it saved me as a human being. It
100%.
saved me from the inducing of hell
Yeah.
into my life because I could, my mother was there and she was so helpful and she like showed up every day and I didn't have
Oh
to
my God.
beg or plead or anything. And that is a luxury / privilege.
Yeah.
That I'm so grateful I got to experience because the first few years
Oh
is
my God.
hard, man.
Horrible. And then to do it in a pandemic. And
Oh man.
we had a baby who did not sleep at night. Just like her
Yeah.
average wakings in the middle of the night, her average was like 10. And then on top of that, she was having seizures regularly, very regularly. And then on top of that, we're in a pandemic. So
Yeah.
we have no help. And we're already
Nowhere
4
to
hours.
go.
Nowhere to
You
go.
can't leave.
We're 4 hours from my closest family.
Mhm.
And at that point, Dot's having seizures, and the doctors are like, don't bring her to the hospital because, like,
We're in a pandemic.
yeah, we're in a pandemic. And also, like, the average ER wait time at Seattle Children's was like 4 to 6 hours. And so they're like, by the time you bring her here, she's not going to be having a seizure anymore. There's
Yeah.
nothing we can do. We're just going to tell you to like keep her comfortable and then send you home. So like, don't come here. Like they were actively telling us to stay away. So we were just managing her seizures at home by ourselves, just alone all day, every day. And then my dad was going through cancer treatment. So we couldn't
Right.
see them
Yeah.
because he had no immune system. And then
Mhm.
also we were told Dot shouldn't be exposed to anybody because anytime we risk her having a fever, we're risking her seizures getting worse. We had to regulate her body temperature. Don't let her be outside in the sun too long. Don't let her get overheated. Don't let her be too. And also, like, don't let her get overheated when she's like a raging baby who's just like angry about everything and is
Yeah.
just like having screaming fits about all the things all the time. I'm like, yeah, okay, you don't let her get overheated. You do
Right.
it. You tell me how that works.
Yeah, tell me. Tell every parent who
Yeah.
has a ragey baby.
So we were like, did not sleep for the first year. And then on top of that, the anxiety of having a baby who has seizures and you don't know why.
Ugh.
And you don't know how to manage them. You're just doing what you're told over the phone because the doctors are also like, don't bring her in. I remember one time I will never forget this. It was the first time she had a focal seizure. So she had 3 different kinds of seizures. She most commonly had febrile seizures. She had a focal seizure, which is where her eyes went like hard to one side, and then they were just like locked in that position,
Oh
and
my
then
god.
that entire so her eyes went like all the way right and then just stayed there, but her eyes were like wide open, but locked off to the right, and then the entire right side of her body stopped working. And I was like, my child is paralyzed. My child is gonna die. Just like go like full on,
I'm
yeah.
not breathing.
Full on,
I'm
yeah.
literally not breathing right now.
And we called Seattle Children's, and they were like, "Well, you can call the fire department. Like, firefighters are usually like somewhat trained on how to deal with this." But it was the same message. It was like, "You can come here, but
We can't
there are
do.
people that have been here for half a day. Like we're not going to be able to."
Yeah.
So we just did everything by ourselves. It was awful. It was absolutely hell. And
So how's Mabel Chappell Roan's right?
she's right. And was there light in my eyes? 100% no. Like
No.
not a speck of
No.
light in my eyes. It was.
I mean, I remember talking to you in this, not necessarily the darkest of times.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're in the darkest of times, you are.
Oh,
you
I didn't
are-
talk to anybody.
Yeah, you don't.
I didn't.
You're in ground zero of battlefields.
Yeah.
I
did not leave my four walls physically, socially, emotionally, anything. It
And
was
talk
just
about, I mean, thank God you did have a partner at that time,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you've also experienced parenthood where you didn't.
Yeah.
And so, like, God, anytime I have to like solo parent, I just think about all those solo parents out there, and I'm like, you guys deserve $1 billion.
Yeah. Yes.
You guys deserve whatever you want, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I have to do it for like, a week maybe.
Yeah.
And I yet again, I still have like support that I lean on because they're there and they want to, but like God bless. That's scary. Yeah, so that's a version of hell.
It is a version of hell, which is why I'm like, I'm not offended by what she said.
No.
Parenting is, and I have had two very different parenting experiences. Neither of them were easy. I had an easy child
Mm-hmm.
and a really toxic home life.
Yeah.
Which made it really hard.
Yeah.
And then I had a really hard child, and I can't even say our home life was balanced because of how hard everything was.
Mm-hmm.
Pandemic, baby having seizures. Like there was it just was. If I had to do that alone, would I live to tell the tale? I don't think so.
I mean,
so like, yes, it's hell.
Mm.
There are moments where it's hell, and that's the dichotomy of parenting, right?
Yeah.
It's hell. You find like the deepest, darkest corners of yourself that you didn't know existed, and they will come up. Like your child will do one thing to trigger that demon from like down in the depths of somewhere, and you in real time are like, oh, hello, part of Kimberly that I didn't know existed until right now.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Also, you can't be here right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to deal with you later.
Yeah.
Because you have no business being in this dynamic right now between myself and my child.
Mm.
Like they really do have a special way of pulling out the demons.
Yeah.
So you have it can be so hard. And the flip side of that too is that just like there is no way to explain to somebody who doesn't have children how unbelievably, I don't feel like there is a word that we have in the English language that accurately represents it. Fulfilling to me sounds like trite in comparison.
Yes.
Or like I mean, I can't think of a word. It is the most like whole. It makes me more whole than anything else I've ever done.
Yeah.
I feel more complete as a person. My soul feels more complete now that I have children. In a way that, like, even saying that out loud, I'm like, that doesn't quite mean what I'm trying to say, but I don't even know
Well,
how
and
to
even
say
if you hear that as somebody who doesn't have kids, it will not affect you.
No, because you're like, I feel fine.
Yeah, right.
My soul feels fine.
My soul feels fine. I'm feeling good. but yeah, it's like you birth a new version of yourself. That's what the placenta is.
I mean,
it's actually your new self. But
this is something.
But I mean, there's also people out there to give a different, and I've met a few of they're women, so mothers, who don't have this kind of like crazy connection with their kids.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay too. Right? Knowing that parenthood looks so different on every single person, and you don't know what kind of person that's going to be until you have a baby.
Yeah.
It's really a roll of the dice.
It really is.
It is like full high stakes game. That's why it's not for everyone
Yes, and
too.
that is
That's really
okay.
okay. I know some women out there who are like, I'm never having a kid. And I'm like, I support you
Yes.
wholeheartedly. One, we don't need more people. Two, I love people living in their truth and their power.
Yes, and, like, how incredible to know that so definitively,
Uh,
without
yeah.
a doubt, instead of and obviously this is a very small population, but, like, the people that have children and then regret it.
Yeah.
I have one friend who I love dearly,
Mm.
who, after her first child, she was like, "Man, I don't know if this is for me."
Yeah.
And then she ended up having a second child, and after her second child, she was like, "Can confirm
It's
I
not.
don't wanna be a parent."
Ugh.
And she's still, like,
She's
pulling
doing it.
herself up by the bootstraps, and she's like, "This is the choice I made, and this is
Right.
the commitment that I made to these 2 people who didn't choose to
They
be
did
here,
not
so I'm gonna
choose.
follow through on my commitment." But she's like, "I don't love anything about this,
Yeah.
and if I could go back and do it all over again, I wouldn't." And she loves her kids deeply,
Well,
but
yeah, two things can be true at one time.
yeah,
Right? You can love somebody and still not love the process of it.
yeah,
Right? Um and I mean that's a normal theme. It feels like in my life like two things can be true at one time.
yeah,
I can love something and still really not like the process.
yeah.
And and I think it ebbs and flows too. I mean, man, it's so layered.
It's so
It's a real
layered.
parfait, you know?
But that we talk about this a lot in the maternal health world about the maternal identity, the parental identity, the
Mm.
identity shift that you have when you
Oh,
give birth that
oh,
one, nobody prepares you for,
no,
two, nobody talks about,
no,
three, nobody helps you through it.
no.
You literally birth a human
Hmm.
and then birth a whole new version of yourself that you don't know, and then
No.
you have to figure out how to get to know her. And then you have to
Yes.
figure out what she needs and what's going to support her and make her feel whole. And it's a whole different set of demands
Yeah.
than the non-parenting version of you.
W-
So you have to learn all of that and
Mhm.
nurture her and make sure that she's taken care of, and then also learn this brand new human who can't communicate with you.
Mhm.
Nurture them, make sure they're taken care of, they're fed, they're clean, they stay alive on a daily basis.
Mhm.
Just like minor low stakes responsibilities.
Yeah.
And doing those 2 things simultaneously is
Yeah.
a total mindfuck, especially when you are only prepared for one of them. And I can't even say prepared because, like, nobody's really prepared to be a parent. Doesn't
No.
matter how many books you read. It happens,
Because you
and then you
have
are
to meet the
thrown.
kid.
Yes.
You have to meet the kid. And I
Yeah.
think that's the other part that they don't tell you about. They're like, "Oh, you're going to have this baby and this is how breastfeeding is going to work and this is what you're going to feed the baby and this is the diapers you're going to put him in if you want to put him in those diapers."
Yeah.
There's other diapers also. And formula and is it good? Is it bad? Is it
Well,
blah
I
blah
mean,
blah?
that's like parenting in America is based on consumption. Here's what you can
Ugh.
consume to be a better parent. Here's the
Yeah.
product that you can buy. Have the best car seat. Have the best formula. Make sure your formula doesn't have GMOs. Make sure your formula is all organic. Make sure that your crib was constructed with wood that came straight from the rainforest and hasn't been treated with pesticides. Right? Like there's like so many
So many
things from
things.
a consumer perspective that we are like shoving down parents'
And
throats.
fear mongering
But
too.
talking about getting to know the child
Getting to know the
so that you can, like, create a dynamic that works, I
Mhm.
mean, it's just not talked about.
It's not talked about because yeah, I wish that had been talked about because my mom actually told me about it. She's like, well, you can decide that now, but like you also have to figure out what's gonna work. Like you have to meet the baby,
Yeah.
you know, and because the baby's gonna have opinions about what they like and what they don't like and all that. Um, and I will say, like, the harder I tried to force things, and because of like this idea that I had, it's like a birth plan, right? It was like
Yep.
I had an idea of what I wanted it to look like, and then the harder I tried to hold on and grasp onto that vision, the harder fucking life got. I was just
Yep.
like and so I remember like at one point in the first year of Finn's life, I was just like, I'm gonna stop trying that. Like I'm just gonna like let go and like let's see what happens.
Mhm.
Make the best decision in the moment. And man, when I decided that, it was like, God bless. And the idea that you brought up of the mother's identity, woof. I think that was harder for me than trying to parent a child
Mhm.
because I was so firm in who I thought I was. Um and then the mothers around me when I first had my my baby were not their identity did not match my identity.
Mm.
Like they were like we're climbing mountains all day, every day. We're strapping babies to our backs. We don't care. We're going to the top of the mountain. We're, and I was just like, I just want to stay home. Like,
Yeah.
like and then I felt bad because I wasn't doing what I saw other mothers doing. So I had to so I sat at home with my baby and listened to, Waitress and just ugly cried on him, like
Yeah.
that is what I did for probably the first 6 months and judging myself because I wasn't willing to, I was scared. I was like, everything was so scary. I never wanted to try new things.
Yeah, everything is so scary.
Yeah.
And you were also, by the way, recovering from
Oh, yeah.
one, just like, I don't know, transforming as a person,
Yeah.
minor details, two, transforming from being pregnant for 9 months, which is a massive transition from your body to go from being pregnant to not being pregnant.
Yeah.
Hormonal transitions, physiological transitions, the things that are happening on a cellular level, the regeneration that's happening in your body. I mean, it's massive.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, you were recovering from a major surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
oh, by the way, if you get a joint replaced, you get sent home, you're told to rest. Well, now, I mean, knees and hips, they're like, go walk around the block. It affects you so insignificantly. But like, if you have a major surgery on one of your organs,
Yeah.
they're like, bed rest for 6 weeks
Yeah.
or 6 months, right? Like, don't lift heavy things, don't do X, Y, and Z. Make sure that you're like doing all these things to help your body recover. You're going to physical therapy, you're seeing your providers. None of that happens in postpartum.
Mm.
None of that happens. You had
No.
a major surgery.
Yeah, they cut through all the things.
They cut through all the things.
They
And then
li-
they sent you home and they said, good luck, babe.
Yeah. I remember my 6 week. I remember talking to you about it because you were pretty as enraged as I was. Where I went into my 6 week, post checkup. And she literally, oh no, this is the second one. The first one was okay. But the second one, she literally just moved my belly around. She's like, you're good. And I was like, and knowing better because I had a good one. My experience the first time was great. Second, I was like, no.
You sure about that?
You sure that I'm okay? Like you're just like, yeah, get out there. The lack of knowledge that they give women who've just had a baby is astounding and offensive. Like I'm like,
Oh, it is.
you didn't. Oh man, I mean, the only time that Finn would be calm is if I was bouncing on a ball.
On the yoga ball?
On the yoga ball. It was the only time he would calm down. And so I have a C-section, not healed scar. I thought I had popped a stitch, called the doctor and was like, I'm probably dying. Get me in. And he was like, okay. And so I went into my doctor the next day to urgent care because I couldn't get in with my doctor. And I was like, I swear to God, something popped. And I was, it's not, I don't even know what it was. But he was like, let me tell you, I've been doing this a long time.
Oh, God.
And never have I seen that ever happen. I was like, cool, bro. But I felt something pop in my stitched open wound while I was bouncing my baby. So could you give it a gander? Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, the medical gaslighting that happens in maternal health is astonishing. Astonishing. The way that they just are like, don't listen to your body. Don't listen to yourself. Don't trust your intuition. Everything's fine. Don't be hysterical. You're being hysterical. Don't be hysterical.
Be like, probably. Let me.
Oh,
yeah.
She's just having feelings too.
Yeah. Mad.
Yeah,
and
but
you're a boy dog.
we are also pissed.
Okay. But yeah. It was what a time. So I mean, really long story long.
Yeah.
Yes, and to Chappell Roan.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't I refuse for a single moment to pretend like parenting is butterflies and rainbows. It is not. It is really, really, really hard. And the amount that because it changes the lens through which you see everything.
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
you connect impact of every single thing you do back to your child. If I choose to go to the grocery store right now, what's that going to do to the rest of my day? It's going to push back the other tasks that I have, which is then going to push back dinner, which is then going to push back bedtime, and I can't do that. And so I can't go to the grocery store right now because it's going to have a negative impact on my child
mental
6
load.
hours from now.
Yeah, mental load.
Right? Like,
yeah.
It changes literally every single thing. But there's also so much power in that. I mean, you and Hannah's yoga retreat, if
Mhm.
I had gone on that retreat as a childless person, I would have had an amazing time. And
Yeah.
I'm sure it would have been transformative in different ways. But the lens through which I saw that, and then also like how seriously I took it for myself,
Yeah.
how hard I made boundaries around that experience for myself, like this is my week
Mhm.
out of the house, away from kids, reconnecting to myself.
Yeah.
And then the amount of time that I spent with myself
Yeah.
was so much more valuable than the experience that I to me, than the experience that I would have had if I had gone there as a childless person. When I think about when I went to Mexico when I was a childless person,
Yeah.
or right? Like when you go to a beach
Yeah.
and have some margaritas and do some yoga when you don't have kids, it's like
Just another day.
it's just
Just
another Tuesday. It's fine.
Yeah.
But like the intention that I went with, and then what I was able to give myself
Mm.
because of that intention, and then also like how that contributed to who I am.
Mhm.
Like going on that retreat fundamentally changed me as a person because I was able to commit 7 entire days strictly to me without distraction,
Yeah.
without social media.
You got to pack a bag just for one person.
Oh my God.
The first time I got to do that, I was like, this feels weird.
Like you forgot something?
Like I
Or like you're
forgot.
getting away with something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was like, wait, I can only pack one thing. I don't have to schedule. I don't have that mental load of how this decision is going to affect
Yeah.
the rest of the day or my partner.
Yeah, getting on a plane and not having to think about navigating from point A to point B.
You can just get up and leave whenever you want.
Yeah. You want to take a taxi instead of taking the shuttle? Who cares?
Yeah.
Great.
Ugh.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And
Reclaiming that sense of freedom every once in a while is pretty life-giving, I will say.
for sure. But it
Mhm.
also,
But you wouldn't have that if you hadn't had the other side of the coin, right? The other side of the coin of like, I gotta schlep 17 other things so that just in case these things happen,
yep,
I am ready and prepared. Because let me tell you, I've been caught unawares.
the just in cases.
The just in cases.
All of the just in cases. When you're traveling with children,
Uh-huh.
the extra bags, the
Oh.
extra accessories, the extra tools.
Or how about the time that I went to both my children are potty trained and Soybean had not been on a plane in his like current state,
Mm.
didn't know they had potties. I don't have a fucking diaper.
Yeah.
Oh, but he pooped himself. Let me tell you. And I was like,
no.
I was like,
he just
somebody-
didn't know that he could ask to go to the bathroom?
he didn't like he had no idea. And
Yeah.
he was like, tummy was really hurting, and we were like, oh, maybe it's first time like playing.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, something stinks to high heaven. I was like, somebody change your fucking baby. Like I was like, good God, you guys, like who is it? And it was us the whole time. And then the whole time it was I was like, it was Pat, Sawyer, me, and I was like, and he had fallen asleep. And I was like, Pat, I think he shit himself. He was like, no. And I was like, I think he did. And then Pat's like, we like lifted his cheek, and
Yeah.
you could see like the outline on his underwear.
Oh.
And then of course I'm starting to get up to like I was like, I don't have a diaper bag. We're past diapers.
Yeah,
We've been
we
past
don't-
diapers
we
for a
don't
long
schlep that stuff
time.
anymore.
We're not schlepping. We had graduated, I thought.
Yeah.
Haha, joke's on me. And then to make it worse, I'm about to like get up into my bag. So I have to like pull down my whole bag to get his clothes out.
Yeah.
And they're like, seatbelt sign on, we're about to land. And the lavatories are locked.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, we all just get to sit here in this kid's shit. And then I have to get
And
into
the
a
30
bathroom.
people around you.
And I was like, sorry, everybody. Sorry. It's the big guy. It's not the little guy. It's the big guy. I was just like so. And then, Pat was ragey at me because like I didn't move fast enough. And I was like, I'm new here. Like,
Yeah.
we're past this, I thought. And so, yeah, then we had to go to like find a bathroom in the airport I've never been in.
Oh my God.
And
while you're
I
just
don't
like
have diapers.
carrying a baby whose pants are full of
Well,
shit,
and I
I
was like-
imagine you didn't make him walk off the plane with an underwear full of poop.
hell yes, I did. I said, babe, you did it. Let's go.
How did he walk? How did he waddle?
I mean, he was like, he waddled. He got it. He was fine. But also, I was like, okay, if I pick him up, this is also the mental load. If I pick him up,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have shit all over
It's gonna be
my
all over
clothes.
you, and then also you're gonna be, like, smushing it into
And we're
everything.
going to a hotel where there's no laundry.
No.
So now we're just gonna have shit stained clothes for a week. Neat. So no, yeah, I made that 4-year-old walk off by himself. I said, "Come on, babe." And
Walk it
then
off, bud.
and then yeah, had to go to a bathroom, had to strip him down, wash him essentially in the sink.
Yeah. Put his giant he's a large 4-year-old, put his giant 4-year-old butt up in that bathroom
That
sink.
poor little nugget. Luckily, here's Pat saves the day. Pat always says because he's still in like little kid mode sometimes.
Yeah.
And which is actually helpful
Yeah.
because he had like wet wipes with him.
Nice. Way to go,
And because I was
Patty.
like, I want fucking wet wipes. And he was like, I do. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so in love with you right now.
How'd you do that?
You're so smart. You're so, and like Tori before I've been like, ugh, Pat,
Yeah.
why are you overpacking?
Yeah. Why we
For
don't need that
this.
anymore.
For this. That was and I said, hey, Sawyer. And so when we flew home, I was like, babe, they've got a potty on the plane. And you should have seen his face. He was like, oh,
Oh
because
my
he didn't
God.
want to tell us.
Right.
He like pooped in his sleep. Like it was weird. It was such a weird time.
Like he fell asleep and then his body relaxed enough. That
Yeah, or
he just
something.
reverted to like babies who poop in their sleep.
I guess, or maybe the air pressure just pushed it out. But like, I was like, huh?
He just was like, we're in a moving vehicle. Obviously, there are no bathrooms because moving vehicles
'Cause
don't
we're
have
moving,
potties. So like,
yeah.
this is just where we are.
I think we'd also said like, let's go potty now before we get on the plane because there's not going to be a potty. I think we'd said that
Oh no!
because we're like
to try to get him to
try
like
to
preemptively.
go. Yes.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Man, that's like a whole other the lies we tell our children to get them to do the things we want them to do. Nothing will make you a liar like having children.
Also that.
Unless you're a sociopath, and then you're just a liar
Then
because
you're
you're
just
a
a liar
sociopath.
because you're evil.
Yeah.
Um.
The lies. So many lies.
Yeah, that was so. It's
The amount of times that the grocery store has run out of something very basic. Sorry, babe, they're out. They didn't have any. Sorry.
Sorry.
I looked for it.
I did look.
I really tried. I really looked for it. They just didn't. They were all sold out. Sorry about it.
Yeah. It's
I
But
mean, I will say you really do learn how to choose the path of least resistance when you're a parent.
yeah.
And also reflecting back on my pre-parenting years, I'm like, God, I expended so much energy fighting battles that yielded me nothing. Why?
Why?
Because I had nothing better to do. I didn't have children
mean,
ruining my life.
But I mean, even in parenting, sometimes you choose the harder way because that's how it's been done. When it's like, but it doesn't have to be done that way.
Yeah. Or when you're trying to unlearn and reteach yourself new patterns and new approaches, you intentionally choose the harder way rather than defaulting to the way that you always knew. And but there's also like something so powerful and magical about that. Like Dot, my deeply feeling child who feels all her feels on the outside, Rosalind is deeply feeling and feels everything on the inside. And then suddenly you're like, hey, where are you? Like you just shut down hard. What's going on? And Dot's like, the minute she feels it, we're all going to feel it. Like we're all going to suffer because she's feeling literally anything. And the other night at dinner, she just couldn't regulate. And it was like from the moment we got home from school. I don't know if something happened at school or if her nap got messed up or, I don't know.
She still naps?
So she's in pre-K and they have nap time. And I just learned what we were told is that they have the choice to either sleep or do a quiet activity like color or read a book.
Oh.
What I recently found out was everyone is required to lay down and close their eyes. And then after a certain amount of time, if you're not asleep, then you can get up and do activities.
Oh.
And so she'll lay down and try to close her eyes, but she's not tired. So she tosses and turns and she gets pissed, whatever. But sometimes she falls asleep and sometimes she comes home and is angry and yelling about the fact that they made her lay down.
Yeah.
So, something happened at school to where when she came home, she was like really like excessively decompressing. And so like everything was a battle. It was a battle to have the after school snack. It was a battle we were like on days like that where she comes home just in rage. We're like, great, you're going to sit on the couch. You're going to watch Bluey. We're going to just like zone out.
Yep.
We're going to zone it. We're going to decompress
Yep.
because if we try to get her into something like building with magnet tiles, she just gets full rage and will like throw things. And it's just, so we're like, we have to do the thing that keeps her body still.
Yeah.
So we're like, cool, let's go watch some Bluey. That was a fight. Everything was a fight. Going potty, washing her hands for dinner, everything was a fight. We get to dinner. Everything's fine for the first few bites, and then she decides she's pissed about something. She gets up, she leaves the table, she's screaming. She's like rage screaming at both of us, like screaming so hard that she's losing her voice.
Oh no.
And I immediately,
She's
like,
unregulated.
so unregulated. And Nick and I both were like, what is
What's
going
happening?
on? And so I had this moment where like my knee jerk, it was like I felt it coming from, this is such a weird analogy, but it was like I felt it coming from my spine.
Ooh.
Like this like impulse to respond in the way that I was responded to as a child. And I felt like there was this like gremlin that was trying to like hatch out of the back of me and be like, you can't behave that way. You can't talk to me that way. And
Not your back gremlin.
my back gremlin was trying to come out. And I was like, no, bitch, stay in there.
Stacy, get out.
You don't need, Stacy, get back inside my spine. Get in there.
Spiny Stacy.
Spiny Stacy. And the much harder thing was for me to just like take a beat and not lose my shit at my 4-year-old who's already losing her shit.
Yeah.
Where like, if I had, as a 4-year-old, if I had gotten up from the table, full stop.
Full stop.
Nothing else happening. It would have been like, what do you think you're doing?
Yeah. Don't
Which
disrespect
obviously,
me.
like, yes.
Don't
And,
disrespect
like,
your mother.
more traditional environments, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of us probably grew up that way. Like, you sit down at the dinner table, you stay there until your plate's empty, and then you ask for permission to leave the table, and right? So I'm like, okay, we're not going to get ragey because she's leaving the table. She's leaving the table because she's listening to her body. I'm going to navigate this a different way. So I like get up and I follow her into the kitchen where she is, and she's just like pissed and on the floor and screaming and clearly needs co-regulation but can't accept it. And so then she's more mad that I'm there and she's like, don't look at me, don't touch me, and then like gets up and takes her rage over into the living room. So she's just like retreating and retreating and retreating, and then is just, I mean, screaming and I hate you, right? Like the what did you call something about 4-year-olds? We were talking about this in the yoga.
Oh, fuck you fours?
Fuck you fours.
Yeah.
The fuck you fours were like loud and proud in that moment.
Yeah, they were present.
And I was like, as I'm trying to like bring my energy down, the more I'm trying to bring my energy down, the more she's escalating, the more she escalates, the more I feel like I'm about to jump out of my skin because I'm like trying so hard to keep Stacy inside. Stacy, we don't need you, babe.
Yeah. Sorry, Stacy's of the world. I don't know why. You've been,
because she's Stacy.
Yeah.
Stacy the spine gremlin. So that to me was the way harder thing, was for me to not lose my shit and be like, you can't talk to me that way, right? And like meet her energy with equal energy, which is never, ever in a heightened situation the productive way to go.
that changed our parenting when we said you can't de-escalate an escalated child by escalating yourself.
Yeah.
And that was a game changer for us as parents.
Yeah. But it's all I knew, right? Like I would escalate and then my parents would escalate.
Yeah, I'll meet you where you're at.
Yeah.
You're going to yell, watch how much I can yell.
I will overpower you with how loud I can yell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now having to like retrain myself in the moment, retraining myself in the moment while also trying to regulate her in the moment, while also trying to problem solve in the moment, while also simultaneously being like, I have to get her back to the table to get food in her body so that I can get her in the bath, so I can get her to bed, because if she doesn't fall asleep by 7:30, she's not asleep until 9, and then everything's ruined tomorrow, right? Like it's like the cascade.
There is the hell.
There is the hell.
Rowan was talking about.
It's that right there.
Yeah.
But then also
that's
like,
the light.
what an amazing gift that we are giving ourselves by being able to do that hard work to juggle all of that shit in the moment, to then be able to show up differently for her, which is making me show up differently for myself. And for everyone else. It's making me show up differently for Nick. It's making me show up differently at work when I get annoyed by stupid things that I'm like, you're smarter than this. Why did you do that? Like, I don't understand. But it allows me to like change how I see everything, which changes how I respond to everything.
Yeah.
And it's a gift that I don't want to say I wouldn't otherwise have if I didn't have children.
You might have gotten there eventually, but from in a different way.
Yeah.
And probably a lot like taking a lot longer.
Yeah.
To get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. that resonates. But I mean, in that moment of doing all of those things in one spot,
It was horrible.
yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, great. It's 7 o'clock and now I'm ready for bed.
When I will say, like, yeah. Well, I will say that I've never felt like prouder of myself than when that's happening, the escalation of one of my children.
Mm.
And I can sit down with them.
Yeah.
And I just hold space for them.
Yeah, just sit in silence with them.
Just sit in silence and just know that, like, that's me visually showing them that I'm there.
Yeah.
And that I'm not scared of them, and that nothing that they can do is going to make me run away. But when I'm in that moment, I would be like, like because my insides don't feel calm, right? My insides are like,
Stacy's trying to come out.
Stacy is, and it doesn't come from my spine, but it comes from my chest hard. Like, it's like I can feel my veins popping out of my neck, and like,
You're hulking out.
yeah, she's a little Hulk baby.
Yours is Bruce.
And Bruce Banner, get out of here. And but I do say that, like, when it, like, the co-regulation happens, like for Finn, he just needs contact. He just he needs space right away. He needs space. Like, even when he was a little kid, like baby, he would put himself not in timeout. We've never done out on we call it like quiet time, but there's something that really
Space, take a break.
Yeah, take a break. And he would just do that automatically. He would just like go in the other room and not do anything in the room, just like sit there. And then I would sit outside the room, and I would like knock on the door and be like, "Hey babe, I'm out here. I just want to let you know that I'm right here. And when you are ready, I'm here." And he would come and he would just like sit in my lap. And we would just sit there and like I would rock him. And he still, as an almost 8-year-old, still likes to do that. When he is like, when I can tell he's overwhelmed, it's physical contact for him. And which is amazing.
So it's like grounding to him.
It's grounding to him. But like, to the outside, like, I think my parents, when they first saw that, they were like, "Aren't you going to go in there and like save him?" And I was like, that's obviously, he does not want that. He just closed the door. Like,
yeah, he removed himself.
So like, I'm going to honor that space for him. And then, when he gets older, we'll talk through it and stuff. We'll be like, is that, what helps you still? Then cool. But oh man, there were some moments though when Tori was tapped Tori.
Yeah. There were some very unpretty moments that happened in parenting,
yes, he was like 3 and just moved into his big boy bed. And there was a time Pat had to save the day because like he was, and it's very rare. It has only happened a handful of times, like in his life, which I'm very lucky there. But he was like, I was trying to open the door and he was kicking the door and slamming the door. And I was slamming the door and then he was kicking the door. And it was just like, and Pat was like downstairs and he like came up the stairs and it was just like his eyes over the staircase. And he was like
Wilson?
Yes,
Boy Meets World.
Wilson from Home Improvement.
Oh, Home Improvement. Boy Meets World.
Either way.
Wrong next door neighbor. That's
Yeah.
Mr. Feeney.
Mr.
Anyway.
Feeney. But he was just like, "You guys good?" And I was
like hiding. Just like hiding himself.
"You guys good?" And I was like, "This is a tap out moment." Like he had to come and like tap me
Get
out.
in here.
Yes. And I was like, tap out. We'll still do that when we're like trying to, because we can only handle so much, right? Our nervous system can only handle so much. And like, that's why I say when I have those good moments of co-regulating, I'm like so proud of myself, because there are moments where I haven't and I just go full rage monster and I have to use my partner. If I'm lucky enough to have a partner, and I'm like, "You got to tap in, bro."
Yeah.
Because I'm about to burn this fucker down. Like, I can't. And that will be not helpful.
Yeah. I'm about to make my child feel pain.
Yeah. Or I can tell when Pat's escalating and I'll like, we have like a safe word, like squirrel, chipmunk. Like, I don't know why it's always chipmunk with me.
Because they're cute and fuzzy.
Because they're tiny and they can hold food in their mouth.
They got
As
big old
we all
cheek
can.
pockets.
What did I just say? Anyway, so I think it is what it is. It's hard and rewarding.
It is. It is.
rewarding.
It is both of those things in a way that like you just cannot put into words.
Mm-mm.
It's not. And when you are a childless human and you hear these stories, you're like, you people are fucking insane.
Yeah.
Because it is insane.
Yeah.
But like on this side of it, on this side of the story, you understand like the magnitude of the final result.
Mm-hmm.
There's no final result. The magnitude of
No.
like the underlying relationship and like how powerful it is.
Mm-hmm.
When you in the moments where you are not able to de-escalate and the moments where
Yeah.
you explode,
The
lose your
Hulk.
shit,
Yeah.
when Bruce Banner is no more
Yeah.
and you are straight Hulk, do you have a conversation with your kids afterwards?
Yes. Oh, yes. We apologize hard in our house.
Yeah.
Where I will say, that Mama did not do her best. I was not my best self in that. And I do apologize for whether being loud. Finn he's so justice based, that even when we like start to get loud, he'd be like, Mama, you're getting loud. I
And
can't.
how do you handle that?
I'm
How's
like-
that received?
Really depends on the day. Really depends on the day. If I'm already going down Bruce Banner Avenue, or if I'm like, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
But I'm also getting really frustrated. And can you tell me why you think I'm getting frustrated? And he'd be like, because I'm not listening. But like, yeah. And if I wasn't listening to you, how would that make you feel?
Mm.
And he's like, probably frustrated. And I was like, yeah. So let's work on the team right now. We call our family the team, right?
Same.
And
Same team.
Yeah, we're on the
We say
same
it.
team.
We say it so much in this house. Same
Pat-
team.
I mean, it started
Same
with Pat
team.
and I, right? Pat and I in our relationship, it was like when we would come into conflict, it's like at the end of the day, we're on the same team. We want the same things. It is not you and me against each other against the problem. It's you and me against the problem.
Yeah.
And that was when we were parenting, early parenting. That was it, like dealing with night times or dealing with explosions or schedules or whatever it was. It was just like, why don't you say it my way? And it's like, your way is my way. We're on the same team.
Yeah.
We're trying to come up with what works best for everybody. And so trying to teach the boys that, and trying to teach the boys not to be dicks, in just general life. We have enough of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think if that is what I leave the world with, I can give myself a pat on the back if I can like raise two little boys who can regulate themselves and not be dicks.
Yeah. And
in
the
the
power
world.
of the apology. I mean, like you losing your shit at your kids and then sitting down with them to talk about it afterwards and to apologize afterwards, right? Like there's so much power in that. Did your parents do that with you? Or is that a new tool that you're
My mom definitely had, my mom did. I don't remember my father doing it. And no.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was asking because I
Yeah.
feel like it's especially for their generation. It's like, did the men apologize for anything?
No. I mean, when Pat and I have talked about that, because his dad was the same. He said that about his dad as well. He was like, my dad, I don't remember him ever apologizing. And that's just because, and yet again, I think like my parents did the best they could with the tools they had.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just, and I thought they were excellent parents. They're still human, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that's where in those moments where Bruce is also present in Tori's life, like how yours is Stacy and mine's Bruce.
I got Stacy the spine gremlin.
And I have Bruce Banner, like the meanest of the Avengers. Okay, well, hopefully I'll get some royalties of the Bruce Banner. I don't know.
I think you have to Hulk smash something first.
Well, she has.
I believe it.
But I think that's what's beautiful about getting to reparent yourself is like see the beautiful things that my parents gave me, and also seeing the other side and being like, I want to do that hopefully a little bit better, or even just acknowledge that it even happened, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm yet again, I think my parents did excellent, but I needed something moments of other things.
Yeah.
Well,
and parents aren't perfect.
No.
And
but like, do you remember the time that I thought I didn't know that my parents were human until probably in my 20s.
Yeah.
And I would like my children to realize that I am human. I'm going to fuck it up on the reg.
Yeah, because that's part of existing
Yeah.
in this
Early. I want them to
universe.
know it now.
Because it teaches them that they don't have to be perfect,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to lose your cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to scream.
Mm-hmm.
Learn from it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, take that experience and how uncomfortable it made you and how uncomfortable it made the people around you, and then learn from that. Do you want to repeat? Do you want to continue creating that dynamic and that energy with with people in your life? Or do you want to, like, have that moment to recognize this is not a moment that I want to repeat, and then consciously decide not to?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I definitely was like, I don't remember seeing my parents cry. I vividly remember the first time I saw my dad cry, and I was,
Oh, too. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I remember it. I vividly remember it.
Yeah.
I think I saw him cry once when I was like 6 or 7. Oh God, that could be really wrong. He was
What is
doing some
time?
what is time? He was doing, my parents were already divorced. He was doing some kind of like seminar, workshop, something. And I think my mom took us up to surprise him.
And he cried?
And we gave him balloons or flowers or something. This is like a fuzzy memory that I'm trying to pull right now. And I remember we were in the lobby of the convention center. Like, I have a photograph in my memory.
Yeah.
But
But the details are fuzzy.
it's very fuzzy. And I remember him getting teary-eyed. I don't think he had like
Full.
tears.
Yeah.
But I remember him getting teary-eyed and me being like, did I do something? Like, being so caught off guard by the fact that my dad had emotions
You
that I was
have
like, I
tear
must
ducts?
have done something wrong. And then from that point, the next time I saw him cry after that was when my grandfather died when I was 14.
Wow.
So, like, I didn't see, my parents were superhumans to me.
Yeah.
Like, and also apologizing was not in their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So it was just like this idea that I absorbed because of it.
Yeah.
That, like, my job is to be a perfect robot and not make mistakes and not show emotion. Which obviously didn't stick, right? Like,
We love a cry, you know?
I love a good
I love a
cry.
cry.
But that is something that I felt too was very important for my kids to, like, it's okay for you to see me feel a range of emotions because,
Yeah.
like we talked about before, right? Like, emotions are not good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
They are the way your body experiences and responds to something. But what you do with the emotion that you feel is the thing that can be judged, can be qualified as good or bad.
Yeah.
But, like, we can't shy away from those emotions. And the fact that you're teaching that to boys, I think, is so
Crying.
valuable.
Well, I was taught
For
that
humanity.
for humanity. I'm doing it for you guys.
You're
okay?
doing it for humanity.
But I think that I grew up thinking, and I don't think this wasn't told to me by my parents. This was just something that I innately felt, I think, that vulnerability was weakness.
Yeah.
And I think that's just part of my personality too. Like, whether it's because of whatever, I'm an 8 or I don't know, lots of reasons. Just my strong personality.
Being a female,
knowing that it was going to be an uphill battle. But it was like, I'm not going to show you my vulnerability. I'm not going to show you that I'm sad. I'm just going to show you rage. And then marrying a person who is on the emotional side, and the really beautiful growth that Pat and I had to do together of, like, I was fearful of being vulnerable and he was fearful of feeling his emotions. And so us having to come together and be like, maybe that's not the way.
Yeah.
You know, like, maybe I need to be more vulnerable and you need to let me see your real emotions and not be fearful of the fact that being called emotional is not bad, right? Like, having a full spectrum of emotions is not bad. That doesn't make you less of a man. I think it makes you more of a man.
100%.
And what are we teaching our boys? And that's a conversation that we, and Pat does such a beautiful job. He does such a beautiful job of, like, of anytime that there's like a movie that we're watching and it's, we're crying, he's like extra crying. He's like,
he just like, opens
like
the floodgates.
In and Out, like, or Inside Out.
Yeah.
Not In and Out.
Yeah.
That's a good
burgers.
burger.
Burgers make him cry. I get it.
I mean,
I get it.
Animal
style.
But But like watching Inside Out, and he was just like ugly crying, which so was I. And but I innately like I was like,
Yeah.
stop yourself. But then I was like, no, what am I teaching my children
Yeah.
by doing that? Because Finn does, he's like, don't do it, don't cry. Like he'll and we never taught him that, right? We've been showing him the opposite. I'm like, have we gone too far? Like have we pushed the emotions too hard that he's like,
No.
oh, you guys. I
No,
was like,
you're showing him in an environment that's safe because the message that he gets the minute he leaves your house is that he can't show
yeah.
emotion and he's not supposed to. And it's like, I am astonished at the things that Dot comes home saying
Mm-hmm.
in a room full of other 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have no business hearing this horrible, toxic, demeaning messaging this young in your life. It's
Mhm.
so upsetting to me.
Yeah.
It's so upsetting to me. So, like, the fact that you're providing an environment where you're sending that message to them and showing them that it's safe and showing them that it's valuable, and then they leave the house and they're going to get all of the conflicting messages everywhere
Yeah.
they go. But they still get to come home to a place that's safe where they are allowed to feel their entire spectrum of emotions.
Mm.
I mean, like the what that's going to do for them as
Okay.
adults in
Knock
this
on wood.
world.
Hopefully.
Knock on wood.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Hopefully. Because man,
I think you're doing great.
thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
What a time, by the way.
Yeah. It's hard and it's hell sometimes.
It
She's
is,
not
and she's
wrong.
not
It is
wrong.
hell
It's
sometimes.
a yes and situation.
It
Like
is a yes
it's
and. It
yes,
is hell
it is
and
hell, and it is the most beautiful thing I've ever done in
yeah.
my life.
Yeah.
I
There's
had
nothing even remotely close
And
to
I
it.
didn't even really like I didn't like look at my life when I turned 30 and was like, I was born to be a mother. I
Mhm.
never had that thought, not once in my life, until I had kids. And luckily, the reason we had kids is because that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like honestly.
Yeah,
We
you
got married.
checked the wedding off the list,
Yeah.
and so
And
then
then
the next thing
I'm
is
so happy Pat and I we like traveled and did, just the newlywed thing for a while, for a few years, and then we got pregnant. And so I was so happy that we had that time together because I do think that we had a nice foundation before we had kids. But I also think that um I never was like, yep, I'm meant to be a mother. Because I
it
just didn't
wasn't your calling.
it wasn't my calling. It was not my calling. I just wanted to do theater and like be silly,
Yeah.
and teach
Yeah.
yoga and like all the things
And
like
have
and
fun.
have fun and just like have a cute husband and like, whatever. And so I don't even remember the conversation of like, are we gonna have kids? Like, I don't even remember that. I just remember finding out I was pregnant. I have the video of telling Pat for the first time, and like, and that was nice. But yeah, I never had the calling. But man, do I know that it is part of my dharma, right? It is like part of who I am meant to be now, and I would not have thought that growing up.
Same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so luckily I'm a boy mom because I was so sad when I found out I was having two boys though.
Really?
Oh my god, I cried.
Isn't that funny?
Because I wanted a boy first, because I have an older brother,
You wanted it to be like you
and I
had
wanted to be like because I felt like I kind of had a protector, and but also that's just what I grew up, right? And so that's what I wanted. So when I had Finn first, I was like, yes, I did it. Check. Here's a whole like we got to have a girl next. And then we did in COVID, right? I just saw the video yesterday actually of Pat hitting a golf ball and
I
exploding
remember that.
blue.
Yeah.
And I was so sad.
Was it a surprise? You guys didn't know
Yeah, we had no
for your
idea.
gender reveal?
And so, which I was like, you're on camera, Tori. You're on camera. Don't cry on camera holding Finn. I was like holding 2-year-old Finn. And I was like, don't cry. It's fine. It's going to be beautiful. But man, am I so like, the universe had my back on that because I am meant to be a boy mom hard. Hard. It just every day that I'm more of a boy mom every time because I'm like, I'm meant to feel all the feelings, show them how to feel all the feelings.
Yeah, and
girls and I
create
would
a new and different path. Girls are man.
girls. I don't know.
I had the same but opposite response where I didn't find out the gender of either of them while I was pregnant.
Ooh.
But I always thought I wanted to have boys because of what I was told, right? Like my whole family, my whole life was like, "Oh, just wait until you have a girl." And it's
Oh.
always like thrown at me with
Yeah.
nobody ever wants me to feel anything warm and fuzzy and positive from a statement like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just thought that like having girls was going to be horrible and that I was going to be really bad at it.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to be really bad at it because none of the female adult role models in my life knew how to parent me.
Mm.
And so to me, the messaging was girls are really hard to parent. When actually, then I had one girl and then I had a second girl. And I thought when Roslyn was born, I was like, oh my God, everything's horrible. I now have to have a girl, which means I now have to do like the hardest parenting thing. And I'm just going to like fuck up more kids. Like I'm just going to create this constant cycle of like fucking up the next generation. And we're just going to keep going. And then when Dot was born, I felt relief. Is the only way I know how to say it. And I feel similarly to the way that you feel. Like these were both of them were my karmic girl babies. I am meant to be a girl mom. 100% I am meant to be a girl mom.
100% you are. Yes.
And if you had said that to me any time before me having children, I'd be like, you are on drugs.
Yeah.
Or you don't know me at all.
Yeah.
But really, I didn't know me at all because I knew the messaging that I had been given. And I had decided to make that part of my identity when I had no business making that part of my identity. Look at that. Look at that. Just parents. Just parenting is badass.
Badass, but it is hard.
And it's horrible.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like it.
So she's not wrong.
So she's not wrong. Yes, and.
But she also ain't right.
She's not wrong and she's not right.
I have plenty of light in my eyes.
Well, the sun is shining directly into your eyeballs right now.
Valid. But on a good and even a bad day, right?
Yes, so much light.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have light in your eyes, but that doesn't last forever. Sometimes you're just in a really hard
Even
phase.
if you don't have kids, I didn't have light in my eyes.
I feel like I have more light in my eyes as a parent than I ever did.
100%. 100%. I didn't know shit before I had kids.
No.
And then I had kids and I was like, I think I know everything.
And then you had your second kid and you're
And
like,
then I said,
oh, I don't know shit.
I might not know anything because that kid's doing way different stuff. Like, why aren't they the same?
I know.
Which is a whole different podcast.
They didn't come out like little cookie cutter babies.
No.
Come on.
Shame.
How dare they be their own people?
I know.
Anyway, kids
God
are the tits.
Kids are the tits.
Kids are the tits. So is parenting. So is parenting if that's your calling. Or
please.
if that sounds appealing. And if it doesn't, don't do it. You don't have to.
And please wrap it up. Double wrap.
Double
Double
it up. Triple it up. You don't need to feel anything.
You wouldn't feel anything. You want to feel stuff, but like also, there's ways to stop that. Okay. Anyway,
It's true.
All right. Well,
Anyway,
I think we crushed it.
kids are great. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Hey.
Cheers to that. And thanks for listening. And
See you
next Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.